going to talk more about the learning profile, typical learning characteristics of students with Down syndrome. And the thing to say here is, so we're talking about sort of ways that individuals learn. And there are common characteristics that we're going to talk about, but we're always saying that we're looking at the child as an individual. Rich Robeson, who is the executive director of the Federation for Children. Does anybody know Rich? He and his wife had a daughter, Christina, and then they had a second child, Amy, and Amy was born with Down syndrome. And being the wonderful family that they are, they figured, well, we're dealing with this anyway, we'll adopt a child with Down syndrome. So they adopted Jason a few years later. And Jason and Amy, to me, are the epitome of the range of abilities. Okay, Amy, who's now about 30, Amy is very heavy, definitely issues with obesity. She talks non-stop. She is very social. She gets up at the Federation dinner every year and tells jokes, and I mean, she is absolutely Miss Social. Remembers all kinds of things about different people. Jason, on the other hand, Jason has a diagnosis of autism as well. Jason really has no verbal language at all. Is lots of sensory issues, no issues with obesity, and would be quite happy to spend pretty much all day in the back of the room with one of his stuffed animals, giving himself some sensory input. Both great individuals, but hugely different in their personalities and their learning characteristics. So I say that really as a caution, because we're talking about a learning profile, but it's quite variable. Someone mentioned older students with Down syndrome. I've had a lot of parents talk to me about their children's issues when they were 13 or 14 years old, and I say, well, that sounds like a middle schooler. It's not really about Down syndrome. It's about being in middle school and having hormonal changes, and that's typical. So not all of the issues that kids deal with Down syndrome are about Down syndrome. They're just about being however old that they are. So one of you had said stronger receptive language than expressive language. Definitely you don't want to make any kind of judgments about an individual's ability based on what they're able to convey to you verbally. You may have heard the term least dangerous assumption, that we always want to make the assumption that a child can do something, have high expectations, and probably many kids with Down syndrome are understanding more of what you say to them than they're able to demonstrate. So definitely stronger receptive language. Articulation